Support WrestleTalk!
Visit WrestleTalk.com.
What's next for Dean Ambrose? I'm Ollie Davis, this is Luke Owen. Welcome to the Saturday WrestleRamble edition, where we've recorded loads of stuff already today, so we feel a little bit silly. And I guess now's a good time to say you'll be off for 2 weeks.
I will be, yes. I'm not going to be here I've got the SummerSlam predictions video that's already gone up. Sorry, I'm talking out of time because we recorded that yesterday. But this is like my last day of doing WrestleRamble stuff because I'm going on holiday as of tomorrow.
Yeah.
I'm off to Canada for 2 weeks on my honeymoon.
Going to visit the dungeon?
Yeah, that's on the... well, actually, we are going to Calgary.
Winnipeg's the place.
Is that where the...
Well, no, Calgary's the dungeon, but Winnipeg's Jericho, Omega.
Certainly is.
My best friend Don Callis.
So, but
got
we're
a
not...
date with him on Wednesday.
Fortunately, we're not going to Winnipeg. We are going to... starting in Vancouver, and then we are going to be touring around all the national parks, camping and hiking, which is going to be very exciting. We'll do a Whitewater Rapids.
But no Impact.
No Impact while I'm there, I don't think. And then we're going to end in Calgary, spend an evening there, and then we're flying back to Vancouver for a couple of days R&R before we go home. And I'm very much looking forward to it. So I've got 2 weeks off.
Yes.
Which means, actually, I'm missing SummerSlam. I'm also missing NXT.
But you'll be back for Wrestling MediaCon.
But I'm back for Wrestling MediaCon, which is the key thing.
So, Dean Ambrose, I guess you won't know, you won't get to find out the answer because they don't have wrestling.
It's not available.
Canada's not a big wrestling place, is it?
It's not available in the States. In North America, it's not really a big thing, I don't think. So I'll probably I'll try and find out if I can what's happened.
But he returned on Monday's Raw in Seth Rollins' corner. So it looks like SummerSlam, the match for the Intercontinental title, will be Seth Rollins versus Dolph Ziggler with Dean Ambrose and Drew McIntyre in their respective corners. But what happens after that match? Possibly what even happens at the end of that match.
Well, exactly, because he has returned with a new shaved head and a buff attitude.
Not a shaved head, but a very trimmed down head.
It's compared to what he previously had, yeah.
You can't call him the lunatic fringe anymore.
You cannot.
It's a lunatic short back and sides.
But yes, he's got a new look about him. He's a bit more buff these days. And a lot of people said, like, God, he looks like a heel. Like, he's already come back looking like a heel. Yeah. And so... that's posing the theory. Is he going to turn heel at the SummerSlam match, or are they going to save that? Are they going to do a program with Rollins and Dean heading into Hell in a Cell? What's next for Dean Ambrose? What are your predictions for SummerSlam outside of the SummerSlam prediction video we posted yesterday?
Well, it's essentially the same, and that is, I believe, but just because the reports last year were all about Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins working a program together going into WrestleMania. So you had this wonderful story, one of the best in recent times, of Rollins and Ambrose finally making up. Rollins kept on doing all these things to win Ambrose over, and then they finally team up. They win the tag titles at SummerSlam. They defended a few times, and yet apparently the long-term reported plan was for Ambrose to eventually turn on Rollins and Ambrose be a heel heading into WrestleMania. But instead, we got that Finn Balor, Miz, Seth Rollins three-way, which is kind of thrown together in all the injury chaos, because then Seth's other tag partner, Jason Jordan, also got injured.
Yeah, which was the other rumoured match they were going to do, because they were teasing all of these Jason Jordan heel turns before he got injured. Then he got injured, and then they were like, cool, now what do we do with Rollins?
But Jason Jordan was only a replacement for Dean Ambrose.
Yeah.
Of course, it was... Man, who actually injured him? Was it the Bar? Yeah, because it was the Bar versus Rollins and Ambrose. That was the feud that was going on.
That makes sense.
Yeah,
yep.
So I guess...
WrestleMania feels like a long time ago.
This is Royal Rumble we're talking about. This is January, early January.
It was funny. I was writing up the news today about Brock Lesnar's WWE future, which is apparently up in the air. Apparently the story is that he's going to be having a meeting at 4 o'clock before SummerSlam to discuss where he's if he's staying with WWE or not. That's the current rumour.
That is great negotiation tactics.
Absolutely.
Because everyone's going to be panicking.
It's what Warrior did, man.
Yeah.
Warrior waited until the day of the show before going like, oh, can you give me more money or I'm not going out. It's like, I've already advertised a main event.
And Vince McMahon and WWE would be, that's such a dastardly tactic. We would never do any dastardly negotiating tactics.
What was the point I was making? Oh, yeah, so I was talking about Brock Lesnar. And I was like, all of his televised matches this year have been against Roman Reigns. I was like, WrestleMania, the Greatest Royal Rumble, and SummerSlam. And then all of a sudden, the back of my mind was like, oh, did he have a match at the Royal Rumble? Yeah, who was it against? Oh, yeah, it was a Braun and Kane, wasn't it? Because they did all the wacky, and Braun had his hook that he got from Zelda.
Yes.
And pulled the stage down. I was like, that feels so long ago.
Well, wrestling fans' years run from WrestleMania to WrestleMania.
We do, everything goes in big dog years.
Yeah, big dog years. So, yeah, I mean, you can't have something with the bar, really, because they're on SmackDown, unless there is another superstar shake-up
Not
trade
until
after
Mania.
SummerSlam. But I that would be useless because the bar haven't done anything on SmackDown yet. So why trade them back 6 months after you sent them to the Blue brand? So, yes, I think Dean Ambrose is going to turn heel sooner rather than later on Seth Rollins. I personally think it's going to be during the SummerSlam match when Drew is ejected from ringside and you think that Rollins has it won, but then Ambrose interferes on Ziggler's behalf.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm thinking too. And then you set up a Dean versus Seth feud going into Hell in a Cell, and then post that into Survivor Series.
TLC, Evolution,
Well, I was going to say, 'cause
whatever the pay-per-views are.
we're not getting a quote-unquote regular pay-per-view in October. We're getting Evolution instead.
A bloody gimmick pay-per-view.
bloody, bloody gimmicks, bloody women.
Yeah, Hell in a Cell, gimmick. Royal Rumble, gimmick. Women, it's a gimmick. We're being facetious, of course. Don't take these... Please do not take those out of context as a clip.
Yes. So you then play that off into Survivor Series following that, I guess. I mean, unless you want to kind of hold off on the Dean turn and then kind of redo your WrestleMania plans you had for this year, but do them at next year's Mania instead.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to that. You have a Rollins-Dean sort of tag team feud against McIndoff, and that would be a great way to reassert Raw's tag division.
I was about to say, look at that, a much better tag team feud than what the tag belts are over at the moment. But I was imagining the B team coming out and they're celebrating B team, rah, rah, rah. We're looking for new challengers. Rollins and Ambrose come out and just win the belts.
That is a great Monday after SummerSlam.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, great Raw. We're talking like it's already happened. And then you can have that, and I think the Revival would be a great act in the mix with those two teams, and you can have this great three-way feud in the tag division, and then you do the plans that you couldn't do from January to March this year with the eventual Rollins-Ambrose turn. It's an interesting one because usually you would want someone to come back and stay in that with that momentum for a while. So the great example is Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins came back after that injury as kind of a awkward tweener heel babyface. I'm still with the McMahons.
Such a terrible decision.
Terrible decision.
Terrible.
And that really derailed him. So he should have just turned face. But with Dean here, it's like he got such a big pop on Monday, and I'm so into the Ambrose Rollins thing again. Well, do you really want to waste that? Because you've got that's got a few months of potential in it. And do you waste that just to turn him and have a big moment at SummerSlam?
Yeah.
When really you could get more mileage out of this by keeping them together.
That's what I'm saying, man. I wonder if it might be in their best interest to hold off on this because he has just had this return. As you said, the pop was massive for him. And I've seen a lot of people criticize the return in terms of they should have done it at SummerSlam as a surprise. But I thought the way they did it on Monday was as close to perfection as you can possibly get because it was so well orchestrated. And the way that Rollins ramped up the crowd, then didn't announce him, then ramped them up further, didn't announce him, and ramped them up even further. It was just spectacular. It's one of my favourite moments of Raw of the year. I thought it was a really, really cool moment. And them doing the fist bump in the ring, I thought it was awesome. So, with that, I do kind of want to see them stick together for a little while. And talking about them going back as a tag team and reigniting that Raw tag team division, that does excite me because if there's one thing I couldn't possibly care about less on Raw, it is their tag team division. I think I care more about Bobby Roode and Mojo Rawley than I do the tag team division. Mate, I mean, I don't want to say...
Let's not go crazy here.
I know I'm talking hyperbolic statements, but I think I like Bobby Roode. And so I think I'm more invested in Bobby Roode versus Mojo Rawley than I am...
You like the Revival and the B team, whatever they are, do elicit a response. Can't say that about me. I don't even sing along with Glorious anymore.
Oh, maybe you're right. Maybe I'm too nostalgic for Bobby Roode as opposed to...
But that's not saying, hey, the Raw Tag Division's better than you think it is. It's more an indictment of the undercard booking and the fact that Bobby Roode is even in the undercard.
I do care about the Raw Tag Division than I do Authors of Pain versus Titus Worldwide.
So that's another team that is just sitting there waiting to be used in a better program.
It's funny, I was doing...
Revival, Authors of Pain. Authors of Pain versus Rollins and Ambrose.
Yeah.
That's a feud.
So we got a video that's gone up today on WrestleTalk. I think it should have gone up before this, which is like 5 matches that you should watch. 5 NXT matches from Brooklyn shows to get you excited for tonight's NXT TakeOver Brooklyn. And I was going through the matches, and it was Revival versus DIY, and what an awesome match that was. And it was Authors of Pain versus Sanity from last year's Brooklyn, which was this chaotic match. It was so enjoyable. And I had like Banks and Bailey and all this sort of stuff. And every time I was watching these matches, I was like, God damn it, man. Like, you're sitting on a gold mine of stuff here. But
Open goal.
Open goal. But before we move on, actually, have you got any thoughts for TakeOver? Because you weren't part of the predictions.
Just that I very much am looking forward to it, and I can't wait for everyone to go, oh, that was much better than
SummerSlam.
Yeah. I was going to say, there is one other possibility.
Oh, please do.
Which I don't think is going to happen, but it's worth having a talk about. Because if Roman Reigns wins, and we all expect him to...
Well, we predicted he will do,
yeah. But barring Brock Lesnar doing another swerve thing, good God, I hope that doesn't happen. And Reigns doesn't turn heel, which is also a strong possibility, then he hasn't really got many top heels to face off against. So who are your top heels on Raw?
Jinder.
Yeah.
And
Kevin Owens.
Kevin Owens. Probably those two, really, because there's no one else.
And they have been solidified in the mid-card for me. And I guess the cards in the future are Owens versus Roman Reigns. And they've got great chemistry together. They've had some really cracking matches in the past.
Their Royal Rumble match.
Yep.
Not last year. Well, it was last
2017
year.
2017 was really
awesome.
Good. Just at that chair spot of all the chairs.
Oh, I know.
But the rest of Raw's upper card is Bobby Lashley. It is Seth Rollins. I mean, maybe a Drew McIntyre could be a good challenger, but he's still finding his feet on the main roster.
Baron Corbin, I guess. He's tall. He's got a shirt.
But a heel Dean Ambrose, like, he would have to turn heel fast, have a feud with Rollins, and then Reigns has a big heel challenger in Ambrose with a pre-existing storyline there.
Well, if you are going to go in that direction, which I certainly don't think is the worst thing, and you want to kind of build a big WrestleMania match, maybe the WrestleMania match they want to build to is that Shield match of Roman versus Dean versus Seth for the Universal Championship. And that's like your big draw for Mania next year. What an act that has been so protected in WWE. It's amazing. They can do it when they want to. It's amazing how well they protected the Shield.
But even then, not perfectly.
Not perfectly, no.
Not perfectly.
When Kurt Angle came out as Dad Kurt Angle.
Oh, bless him.
Bless his heart.
Hey, Roman had food poisoning and a bad tummy. Should we
did.
get on with some crap gimmicks?
It's time for some of your crap gimmicks. Now, if you're new to this show and you're wondering to yourself what the heckins is a crap gimmick, it's a little section we do on the Saturday edition of this show where you, the SWAF Nation, submit to us your crap gimmicks for our approval and see if we want to sign them for crap gimmick wrestling. Such suggestions have been like the Beastmaster, WrestleBot, the Fishmonger, etc., etc. Think 90s WWF, you are a wrestler and a blank. Would you like to hear our first suggestion this week?
Hit me up!
So this came in from Matthew Bills on June 29th. As always, I am slowly working my way through them. If you would like to send a crap gimmick in, it's luke@wrestletalk.com. One more time, luke@wrestletalk.com with the subject heading crap gimmick. So this one comes in from Matthew Bills from June 29th. He has suggested Joe Kerr. He is a wrestler and a stand-up comedian. Like Elias, he performs random shows. However, instead of a guitar, he is singing... Instead of playing guitar and singing, he performs stand-up comedy and makes fun of his opponents / the audience. This is also how he starts feuds. His finishing move is the funny bone, which is an elbow drop to the opponent's elbow.
That's good. I like the idea. I can't think of a sort of stand-up comedian gimmick in WWE or anywhere else. Oh. No, I meant like a successful stand-up comedian.
Sorry.
I'm sorry, that was mean.
That was mean.
He
was on the roast, which was not funny at all.
Well, so I like this. Funny Bone is a good name for the elbow drop. I like that. But I hear Joker and I think the punchline.
Yes. Well, I mean, I was thinking of funny bone. I'd thought like a submission on your funny bone, because when you hit your funny bone, that hurts for a while.
And the person selling it will go, oh, oh, oh. Yeah, that could be quite funny. And yep, so the punchline in my head is an Okada-style Rainmaker, but into a punch.
I like it.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's better.
Also, there's like that his entrance should just be on the Titantron. We've got a big budget for the crap gimmick wrestling roster. It's just a fake brick wall.
I was going to say the exact same thing with like a spotlight on it, and he comes out almost like Jerry Seinfeld.
Exactly.
And he was like, "What's the deal with airline food?"
But they're not funny.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, boo. And he goes, hey, don't hate me. You know, there's some little bits there. And then, yeah, so he wins a match, and he just looks up and like that at the camera. Freeze frame does his own freeze frame.
But we're now moving into sitcom, and we're moving away from stand-up comedian.
Yeah. But that is a sitcom about a stand-up comedian.
It's very true.
I think that's fine.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, that wasn't in your pitch, though.
No, that's all stuff that we've come up with.
And
that would be my feedback to Matt.
It's 3 lines.
I think there is a balance that one needs to hit with a crap gimmick submission, because sometimes I get them that are like Matthew Bill's that are like 3 lines long, and then I get some of them that are 2 pages. And like that's far too long. Maybe even half of that is too long. There is a sweet spot that you can find.
A crap gimmick is exactly as long as it needs to be, because we once accepted one that was about 14 words.
It was a haiku.
Oh,
one of my favourite ones.
Beautiful, brilliant one.
So this one comes in from J. King on June 30th. Skate, SK8, is a male wrestler who is also an amateur skateboarder.
Oh.
I like it, because we get this a lot, where people say, like, Skate is a smaller man, around 5'6", 5'7", with no facial hair. I just always like that. It's like, he's a smaller man.
Yeah, well,
I mean,
I guess they don't want to say 205 Live.
Well, I mean, just smaller man just seems like a really weird phrase, because he's only 3 inches shorter than me, and I don't think I'm small.
Well, in WWE standards, everyone's looking at this like Vince McMahon, maybe.
Maybe.
I gotta be 6'3".
Maybe. So he is a smaller man, around 5'6", 5'7", with no facial hair and a blonde bowl cut for a hairstyle. He wears t-shirts from random bands and wears khaki cargo shorts. Also wears elbow and knee... You look at me. Did you look at me then? You would.
It is remarkably similar to what you're wearing.
It is, yeah. I mean, I just don't have the blonde bowl cut. I mean, I'm more or less on a bowl cut at the moment, because I still haven't had my hair cut after 2 months.
And you did skateboard into work today.
Well, I mean, I haven't skateboarded in 15 years, maybe.
Were you ever much of a skateboarder?
I was back in my teenage years. Yeah, I used to go down to the local skate park and things
Cool,
like
man.
that. Yeah, oh yeah, it was cool, man. We were so cool.
What tricks could you do?
Oh, I could do all the tricks. Yeah, I mean, you name a trick, I could probably do it.
Well, when I was finger skating, I could do a lot. I could do a lot of little bits.
I mean, a lot of my skating, pop shove-its from things like kick flips, things like that. It's more or less. I was never like I wasn't Tony Hawk or Bam Margera or anything like that.
I like when people in the comments section think, "Oh my god, I don't think anyone's ever asked Ollie this before." Hey Ollie, are you any good at skateboarding?
Why do people ask you that?
Can you do an Ollie?
Oh, I see. Right, very
I'm like,
good.
No, I can't.
See, my problem was when I was a teenager, I got sidetracked by trying to learn how to do proper tricks, because I was obsessed with Rodney Mullen, who was like it was like a freestyle. He used to do just like handstands on skateboards and stuff, and you do flip rounds, really wicked stuff. Like Tony Hawk Skateboarding 3, I was like, always have to beat Rodney Mullen. I used to love unlocking his video because it was wicked. So me and my friends used to focus too much on trying to do that, which we can't do because we're not athletic or strong. So if we'd have put more time into doing other skateboarding stuff, we might have been better. But in the end,
you want to focus on the basics. It's what a lot of trainee wrestlers that fall down on. They want to do straight. They want to go straight into the flip-de-doos. Tell me how to do a falcon arrow, a red arrow,
a one-man Spanish fly. Show me how to do that.
Whereas this guy comes in and says, "I just want to do 5 weeks on lockups. Just tell me how to lock up, and then I want to do that cool thing where you turn around and you get them in an armbar." That's like the next 3 months for me.
Yeah. I was a foolish child, unfortunately, and I went the wrong way.
You ever seen... Sorry, I'm just sidetracking this because it's Saturday. Have you ever seen Jiro Dreams of Sushi?
No.
Fascinating sushi documentary on Netflix. And it's regarded.
You usually save this sort of chatter for the podcast.
I thought, screw it. You're gone for a bit. I'm gonna miss you.
Oh, sorry.
There's so this is like one of the most famous sushi restaurants in the world. It's in Tokyo, I believe, and they are so precious about how the sushi's made. You have to do 10 years just boiling rice before you're allowed to cook sushi.
Well, in my one time I've ever done sushi making classes, we weren't allowed to do the rice. They had to have someone on there who was a specialist who would sort the rice out for us, and then we would essentially just... It's like basically Lego.
Yeah.
Like that was essentially how... that's essentially what our sushi making classes were. But Lego but with food. Edible Lego. Yeah.
Yeah, well, you can give it a go at Lego. All Lego is edible Lego if you try hard enough.
Try hard enough. Anyway, back to Skate. He wears t-shirts from random bands and wears khaki cargo shorts. Also wears elbow and knee pads and has plenty of sick tattoos. Skate's entrance starts with him skating out the entranceway, then hopping off to give members of the audience helmets while reminding them safety always comes first. After finishing handing out the helmets, he goes back to the top of the entrance ramp and skates all the way down to the ramp, which is set up at ringside, to get some gnarly air and fly into the ring. Kind of like how Sin Cara did with a trampoline. Before he starts his match, he always tries to convince his opponents to wear a helmet, because which they always decline. So instead, he puts it on the referee. Yes, the referee must also wear a helmet during his matches. As far as his in-ring abilities goes, his moveset is similar to CM Punk's, with a majority of the strikes he throws are either leg strikes or knee strikes. He has a signature move such as the kick flip, which is a Pele kick, and a heel flip. And he also does certain spots he'll do, such as dives using the skateboard. For example, he'll throw his opponents over the barricade, set up the ramp, then he skates off the ramp and dives onto his opponents.
Wow.
And he has two finishes. His first is the pop shove it, which is like Cesaro's pop-up uppercut, but with a GTS-style knee strike. His second is a submission, the figure skate, which is Charlotte's figure eight. As far as his character goes, as a babyface, he earns everything his way by grinding his way up to the top, but he will always rebel against authority figures and he'll always look out for other baby faces, preparing them for a big match by reminding them to wear a helmet. Now, I've got two main thoughts about this. Well, two conflicting thoughts on this.
Well, shall we say first, great detail, J. King.
Yes.
That is a well thought out pitch to an extent.
To an extent.
What are your points?
I think the character doesn't make sense.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
He's both safety conscious and a reckless skateboarder at the same time.
That's it, yeah. I wanted this to be more like Matt Riddle, where he's just like, cool, whatever, bro. But it's not. It's like, it's a skateboarder, but it's also Danger Aaron from Jackass, where he's always wearing their helmet and being like, safety first. And I don't think the two really compute, although Danger Aaron was a skateboarder.
Yeah, I completely
But not
agree.
the most popular member of Jackass.
That's my main criticism of this.
Yeah.
But everything else I really like the visuals of... I mean, this is... If you take out all the safety helmet stuff, this is verging in the category of... No, that's just a genuinely good gimmick.
Yeah.
Because that's like some of the stuff you could do with a skateboard around the ring if you were athletic enough to do those things and transition into a wrestling move. That's great. I would only also add, rather than the figure skate, which is a good pun, it's also a pun on what is already a pun, kind of, because of the figure four and then the figure eight. It's a bit too far removed. I would have gone for a skateboard stretch.
There you go, instead of the surfboard stretch. I like that. Yeah, no, I and also like the no facial hair and a bowl cut. Like that doesn't scream skater to me.
Yeah, there's something there, but it just needs some development.
Well, let's see if Buttered Toast from June 30th can... Maybe he can get someone signed, or maybe we'll have to revisit two of the other ones we've had.
Toast
He's
before.
He's one of our pledge hammers.
Yeah.
He has submitted ideas before. He has suggested Count Spatula. Spatula is a Transylvanian grill master who wears khaki shorts.
Oh, that's good already. Why is everyone wearing khaki shorts?
I thought it was really funny. I got both emails on the same day, and they both had the terms khaki shorts.
It's summer.
Maybe so. He wears khaki shorts, a button-up flower shirt like a tourist, and an apron that says "Suck the Cook," and a long black cape. He has a dark past that he doesn't like to talk about much. You see, Spatula lost his hand in a bar fight with his mortal enemy, Rob Van Helsing. which I thought was a really funny pun.
Yes.
He got his missing hand replaced with a metal spatula. He likes to have cookouts at every show, but he has to have it indoors because he doesn't tan well. He invites other superstars from the crap roster to his cook-ins at every show. However, his guests are always upset when Spatula hands them the burgers and steaks that are completely rare, to which he then utters his catchphrase, "The blood is the best part." His finisher is the burger flip powerbomb, just a sunset flip powerbomb renamed. His entrance is pipe organ music.
That is amazing. It's all a setup for that not even funny punchline of but the blood is the best part. Oh, if crap gimmick wrestling on every Thursday night, I feel like it would be.
At 1 a.m.
Yeah, I would be waiting around the entire show just for him to set that up and say it. You knew it would come every week, and it'd set and good, I'm done now, I can go to bed.
Yeah, and he would totally have like the Bela Lugosi Dracula voice as well. But the blood is the best part.
That is inspired buttered toast, and I just love the ones where you just thought Count Dracula, Count Spatula. That sounds quite funny. Let's reverse engineer this, and you've created this. This is great. This is uniquely terrible.
Yeah,
in a great way.
I almost feel like his idea was like, I want to do a vampire, but you can't just do a vampire. Okay, he's a cook. All right, okay, he's a cook. Where do I go back from here? And then you go to say, he lost his hand. It's now a spatula. Van Helsing, Rob Van Dam, Rob Van Helsing.
Really, really good. You've gone further down a contrived avenue with every turn. You are like, this represents the cul-de-sac. The cul-de-sac of no more ideas. You have exhausted this concept into a brick wall. This is supremely good. I want to sign him.
Well, let's sign him.
Count Spatula, welcome aboard.
And if you want to submit a question to our mailbag, all you've got to do is become one of our awesome pledge hammers at any dollar amount. And then you can just leave a comment there in our awesome community we've got over there. And we'll read your mailbag questions out on the Saturday episode. It's a really cool place to do.
And a real cool place to do.
That's exactly what
do.
The problem was, I was trying to hold back a burp in the back of my throat there. I was really struggling at the end of that little plug. And I was like, I'm hoping Ollie's going to step in soon because this burp's going to come out at any point.
And the burp's gone?
It's gone now.
Just swallow it.
Well, it's not as easy. It was caught in the back of my throat.
Okay.
Anyway, carry on.
Well, if you go over to Patreon and become a pledge hammer of WrestleTalk, we are also, as of this recording, 73 Patreons away from reaching our next goal, which is weekly NXT reviews, not just for YouTubers, but for podcast listeners as well.
Absolutely.
It's not something that's Patreon exclusive. It's just we need to get to that level of Patreons in order to fund Fakador's expensive mask habit.
Yes.
And then it'll be you and Fakador doing weekly NXT reviews. How great does that sound?
Doesn't it just? So
People
yes.
love NXT when takeovers happen and then forget about it for a month. And then they like it when it comes back again.
Yeah, like the week before takeovers, you get a lot of people going like, why aren't you doing NXT reviews? And then the week after, why aren't you doing NXT reviews? And then there's nothing until those 2 weeks come back again.
And that's why we don't do NXT reviews.
Pretty much.
So hopefully this will, this will supplant the demand by having Patreons help literally support WrestleTalk there.
Toast. To kick off on the mailbag, we've got Josh Lee, who is asking, Hi, Ollie, Luke, Ollie, and Laurie. I have a question for the mailbag. It is well known that many of the NXT call-ups, speaking of, get botched and their characters are ruined once they make it to the main roster. Due to this, many people get worried about their favourite NXT stars getting their call-up. With this in mind, I would like you to imagine a world where every single NXT call-up from now on is botched, and each of you can choose one act to save from bad booking and reach their potential. I like this. I can narrow mine down to Velveteen Dream, Undisputed Era, Aleister Black, Johnny Gargano, and Tommaso Ciampa, which means you haven't narrowed it down at all. You've just named lots of guys. But cannot choose just one. Keep up the good work.
Hot damn. You can just save one.
You can just save one.
Which isn't just like who has the most potential. It's like all the other people you're going to ruin.
Yeah, exactly. You're going to lose them. You are going to lose others, aren't you?
Because the question isn't, you get to choose one. It's just all the others are going to be badly booked, apart from your one. makes it a lot more weighty. Have you got anyone who immediately jumps out at you?
Well, the first person I thought of was Aleister Black, because I'm such a massive mark for him. But then again, I'm like, but there's also Ciampa, there's also Gargano, there's the Undisputed Era. It's Keith Lee. Matt Riddle's rumoured to be going across. Like, I want to be looking at Matt Riddle being a big guy. There's so many people. War Raiders, there's so many people there that I like. Street Profits are another one. I mean, that's huge mark for the Street Profits. And I see there's massive potential in them on the main roster, particularly Montez Ford, who I have made this prediction before, will be a WWE champion at some point.
So I'm taking this question to be, how can you find the next Stone Cold, the next Rock, the next someone like that? So I've got to look at NXT as who has that potential. And Keith Lee would be my first. That was the first thing that popped into my head out of those. But before you even said it, I thought, actually, no, it's Matt Riddle. I know he's not technically NXT signee yet. Likely, this evening, he will become one. But I think Matt Riddle already has what it takes to be in the top of the main event of Raw and have that breakthrough appeal to get casual and less than casual fans back into wrestling. So I would go for Matt Riddle.
Yeah, I mean, I'm actually going to... Oh, man, it's tough. But I think I'm going to go with Keith. Because I think Keith's also got that potential that can reach out, because
that means they're both saved.
Hey! Nameless, he didn't actually really leave a name on this, but it says, "Hi Ollie, Luke, and the untrustable Laurie. Please check
He's
my
totally
last
trustworthy.
Well, he says at the end of it that he claims to have seen him chatting with Pacitti, which we know is not true because he's on the other end of the country and he's here all the time. So we know that's not true. But here is the question he has. 2015 was the year of the Shield breakup aftermath. 2016 was the year of great part-time tag teams. 2017 was the year of the tag team split. 2018 is the year of blank."
Ooh. 2018 is the year. So it's got to be tag, or faction.
Does it? I mean, I was going to say, for me, 2018 this year has been the year of NXT call-ups not being used to their potential.
Yeah.
Because I don't really subscribe to the theory that every NXT call-up is botched. Because, I mean, I was thinking about this while watching Raw. I think 90% of the people that were on Raw were former NXT call-ups, or it might be like 85%. So it's hard to say that all of them are botched when you've got that sort of success rate there. But this year in particular, when you think about all the people that were brought up and they've not done anything with, and we're nearing SummerSlam where you're going to have more NXT call-ups, and because that's what you usually do at WrestleMania and after SummerSlam and sometimes after Survivor Series, and you're like, but you haven't done anything with the ones you've already called up.
None of them are on the main card.
No, you're right. None of them are.
And that goes back to Bobby Roode as well last year. No Ember Moon, no Authors of Pain,
no Andrade,
no Sanity. Andrade is the only one who's made the SummerSlam show, but it is the pre-show.
Yeah, the Iconics aren't on there.
Yeah.
So yeah,
really
depressing. So 2018 for me so far is the year of NXT call-ups not being used to their potential.
There was a little period where it was thought that 2018 would be the year of injuries with Jason Jordan and Dean Ambrose and Samoa Joe. Just felt like they were racking up. I think 2018 is going to be the year of the sort of like the Bullet Club and the rise outside WWE.
Outside of WWE, absolutely.
I think, and that will at least the start of it, and then next year will be even more so.
Mm-hmm.
Well, to be honest, 2018 WWE wise is the year of TV rights. But it's also the year of Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns.
In the year of Rousey's rise.
The year of Ronda Rousey. But I think the question is, Shield breakup, great part-time tags, tag team split. What's the tag faction storyline for this year?
If that is what the question is, then good Lord, I don't
botched
even know.
Tag teams.
Yeah, botched tag teams, I guess, because they haven't done much with the tag. Vince clearly isn't interested in tag teams at the moment.
SmackDown's gotten good in the last couple of weeks. They've renewed the interest in them, but Sanity have been wasted.
Paul, I feel really bad for Killian Dane. Clearly told when he's going to put a t-shirt on, and now he's.
He do you not see his tweets?
I did not.
He said, "Oh, that was my idea." Sure, it was.
Yeah, of course. I'm doing massive air quotes for podcast listeners. Razman's Reality writes, "Hi guys, I wanted to get your opinion on this. Thank you for emailing into the mailbag. Then
Razman's Realty. Yeah.
Yes. I'm pretty sure it is reality.
It is. He told us not to read it like a realty.
Oh, really?
So I just wanted to say that.
Why is it that WWE have such an issue allowing talent to organically get over? The whole heel turn tease with Becky Lynch has upset me so much, not because she's my favourite female wrestler, but because she's so over with the crowd for being so darn likeable, and just turning her would be bad booking. Yet WWE seems to think that she might need a heel turn to be interesting. It's not just her either. They waited long to turn Rusev face, Ty Dillinger. I could go on forever, but you get the point. The company used to know that fan reactions determine who and how they are being used, i.e. Stone Cold and Bret Hart's double turn. Now, though, if it's not their doing, they seem to refuse to allow it to happen. As a fan of 30 plus years, it's incredibly frustrating that they can't see their product is suffering for it. What do you think changed, and do you think we'll ever see them turn back the right way? Thanks for the warm welcome back to Patreon. Keep doing your great work, Razman's Reality.
Yeah, so I think it's a mixture of John Cena being successful as a mixed reaction top star. So WWE sees Cena be on top forever, and regardless of the boos and the you know, what do they say? The mixed reaction. Oh, it's a mixed reaction.
Yep, split crowd.
Yeah, he's a controversial star.
Yep.
He still sold loads of merch.
And loads of tickets.
The live attendance didn't really fall off a cliff. It just, slowly deteriorated. Same with TV ratings, but that, could be down to other things. So it's that, and realizing that WWE think WWE are the draw, not the wrestlers themselves are the draw.
Yeah.
So I can't really, because they're secure. They've got the TV rights. They've got so much money. The network means that you don't really have to make people want to buy a pay-per-view. You just need to make them want to buy the network. So they don't really need to invest in stars. They can do what they want, really, and we to be honest, we're as much at fault as them, because we keep saying we're going to stop watching, but we don't.
Yeah, no, I think it's very much that WWE believe that they are the draw as opposed to the people that are on the poster. So, it's WWE is coming to town, not Stone Cold Steve Austin is coming to town.
Yeah, they won't change unless
And
something really affects them financially, and I can't see that happening now.
And yeah, I was going to say, unless it's like, and we said this in last week's show, unless Sinclair start putting a massive amount of money into Ring of Honor and get them onto a prominent TV station in a primetime position where they can start drawing in, some new fans, maybe lapsed fans and things like that. That'll probably be about the only thing that will make WWE change the way that they are, because at the moment they don't need to. Their ratings are fine. Their attendance is fine. But that doesn't matter, because they've just made an absolute truckload of money off of their TV deals.
And Greatest Royal Rumble.
And the Greatest Royal Rumble and things like that. Whenever you see these comments from people going like, WWE is trash and it's dying, you're like, it's so far not.
It's never made more money.
And that's, you think of like 1998 and 1999 when the massive boom period. They're making more money now than they were there.
By a
considerable margin, absolutely. Hi, Luke and Ollie. This is from Lendl Brentson. Hello, Luke and Ollie, and the oh-so-trustworthy Laurie. Considering this may be his last match, what are your most memorable Brock Lesnar SummerSlam matches? With the caveat, other than the 2017 Fatal 4-Way, and I think that's because we really like that. So, to run down the list, 2016 was Randy Orton, 2015 was The Undertaker, 2014 was Cena, 13 was CM Punk, 2012 was Triple H, 2003 was Kurt Angle, and 2002 was The Rock.
Damn. So this is, he's Mr. SummerSlam, right?
Yeah, well, absolutely, because those are very good matches. I actually forgot about the Triple H one.
Yeah.
Really did. But that was about after Raw 1000, wasn't it? The whole Triple H arm-breaking spot. And then getting the Kimura over.
Kurt and The Rock I haven't watched in a long time, so I'm just going to kind of not consider those. The Cena match is great. That's where Suplex City first happened. It was just mind-blowing as this, because we hated, this was before everyone liked Cena again, us included. We flip-flopped. I hated Cena at this point.
And it's incredible as well, because Bryan had won the title at WrestleMania 30.
Yeah.
And then had to drop it through all of his concussions. And they just put the belt back on Cena. So as jaded fans, we were all like, here we go, just going back to the old safety net of John Cena. And you put the belt straight back on him. What's the point? And then he had this match with Brock Lesnar. And I mean, for me, the answer for this is the Cena match, because I think this is a real sort of turning point for Lesnar in particular. But I can't remember a match that at the end of it, everyone was like, what happened? Because they had so many people going, Dave Meltzer would talk about it for weeks on end. It was the most one-sided championship match WWE have ever had. Cena got no offense in the whole match, and it was just a domination by Brock Lesnar over and over again, and everyone was waiting for that Cena hope spot, that Cena comeback, and it never came.
Amazing.
And Lesnar just won. It was just a phenomenal match in terms of, like, you had no idea what was going to happen next. I watched it so many times.
That's how you book someone strongly, because that happens in the summer in 2014. The next April or March, he ends the Undertaker's streak.
Yeah.
And then that year he faces the Undertaker at SummerSlam, which, like, that's the match they should have had at SummerSlam. Sorry, at WrestleMania. That's a great match too. So I agree though. Oh, but the Punk match is really good. Okay, I'm going to go with Cena for the same reasons. However, special shout out to Randy Orton, because that was the first time that it was like I took over the WrestleTalk YouTube channel at the start of 2016, and that was like the first thing where loads of people went online going, what happened there?
Yeah, that
and because
finale.
I have made a news about it, loads of people found us through that angle and the bloodied elbow spot and whether it was a shoot or real. And yeah, I think that's still to date one of the biggest videos I've ever done. I think it's up to about 1 million views now. You know, the
Brag.
old real reason Randy Orton was that. And there was the backstage fight afterwards with Jericho and Brock, so that's all fascinating. So yeah, I'd say, for me personally, I'm fascinated by the Orton-Lesnar match.
Absolutely. We've got one last question here from Sawyer. I've heard defense... We're back to NXT here. I've heard defense of the poor treatment WWE gives its NXT call-ups that goes like this. No matter what your accomplishments in NXT were, when you join the main roster, you go back to the bottom of the totem pole and have to re-earn your time in the spotlight from square one all over again. In WWE's eyes, even Raw's lower mid-card and comedy acts are, quote, above the last NXT champion because that was just the minor leagues. What do you guys think? Is there any validity to this point? Should NXT call-ups suffer a year or more of freshman hazing, or do they deserve to leapfrog some existing stars and get inserted into big-time storylines right away? Looking forward to Luke and Laurie's NXT episodes. So am I, Sawyer.
Well, I hope you've financially contributed to that happening then.
Well, he has. He's a play chamber, obviously.
Oh, that's great. Oh, of course, yeah, all of them are for the mailbag.
Try and keep up.
So
I know I manage this sort of thing, but come on.
I would say that there is... Obviously, we want NXT call-ups to be protected as best possible, and they shouldn't have to start at the bottom because they've already... You know, a lot of these guys haven't... The majority of these people haven't just proven themselves in NXT. They've proven themselves on the indies for a decade. So... But that's not to say you can just put people right in. Sometimes... Like, because Vince McMahon, I've heard, has that mentality where, hey, you were good on NXT, but nobody knows who you are for the Raw and SmackDown audience. And that's true, for the vast majority of fans. So there does have to be some incremental building up. Like, No Way Jose, that's probably how he should be introduced at that level. But then with your special talent, with like when the Undisputed Era get called up, I would hope they go straight in and just kill the New Day.
Well, we thought that was sanity, though, as well. And it's... I think part of the issue is that Vince doesn't watch NXT. Mm-hmm. And so Vince himself, when he sees these guys and girls come up, that's the first time he's seeing them. And he'll just instantly make a snap judgment on them. So you can almost see that as soon as sanity came up, he looked at them, took one look, and was like, no, I don't get it. And that's it. And once he doesn't get it, then there's no way to kind of claw that back. And... It's amazing as well. You made the point there that when they come up, the story is that like no one knows who you are, and that is true. The majority of the Raw and SmackDown audience don't watch NXT. It's a very small audience that watches NXT, so the larger audience don't know who they are. But guess what? You own the footage. Make video packages, hype them up. Yeah. Talk about NXT on Raw and SmackDown, because guess what? If they talk about Raw on Raw and SmackDown, people might buy the network to watch it. So you're kind of, it's a win-win scenario. You're building stars. You're earning money off the network. Everyone's a winner. I cannot fathom. They have this whole thing like people might tune out of it though, but like they probably won't. Like I think it would be fine.
Yeah, there's that whole mentality of having to pay your dues again, when really to make the best possible product, you would do what Luke said, and that is introduce these people in video packages leading up to their debut, make them seem like a big deal, and give each person not just NXT call-ups, but people. You would like Bobby Lashley or someone who skips NXT. You just want to give everyone the best possible chance to become that next big merch-selling, ticket-selling, rating-shifting star.
Worked with Braun.
Worked with Braun, worked with Brock.
Like there are people that they have done it with, but I think the majority of them do get this. Like, well, you're in NXT and you're over there, but that's a very small audience. So try and get over on this stage. Bucko. It's. I remember when Emma first debuted, back when she was doing the dancing gimmick, and in NXT that dance was massively over. Like everyone was doing the dance because it always is, because everything gets over in NXT in front of Full Sail, and then she was doing the dance and WWE brought her up, and she was just doing this dance. And so the larger audience, I was like, what's that all about? But if you'd have done weeks of build of being like, this is what the dance is, it's a craze, people like it, people enjoy it. When she debuted, there might have been a portion of the audience go like, well, I know what that is now, so I'm going to join in.
You just catch, like the Fandango
and it catches on. All of a sudden, then, she has got a gimmick that comes in, and it works. When she comes in and just does it and no one knows what it is, she looks like a complete joke. And then ends up teaming with Santina Morella and gets sent back to NXT.
Sometimes
it's your own fault.
Yeah, sometimes these things work, though, but in spite of that.
Yeah.
Like Enzo Amore and Big Cass, as soon as they made their Raw debut, everyone knew. Well, I guess it was the Raw after Mania, wasn't it?
It was, yeah.
Everyone knew every single line of that intro, and they were so over from the start. But that's all we've got time for this episode. Please click the videos that have just appeared on our laps to catch up with the latest WrestleTalk stuff, and this box right here that will subscribe you to Apple Podcasts and the WrestleRamble on there. I've been Ollie Davis, this has been Luke Owen, and that was Rambling.